Hey guys, welcome back. On this installment of Project Nitro Z-6, we're getting new seats. We're also doing a center seat delete. So if you've considered getting new seats for your Nitro, you won't want to miss this one. This is a comprehensive install. I show you everything I did. I show you the obstacles that I encountered along the way to make sure that you're prepared to put these seats in your boat. If that interests you, stay tuned. Now, when I bought this boat back in July, I knew that this was something that I was going to have to take care of. Just the seats being 10 years old, I kind of knew that it was not going to last and that vinyl going to degrade somewhat. And as you can see, got some rips in the seats. I put some Gorilla Tape there to kind of keep the water out. Now this center seat, this is just where from just putting my knees here to get in and out of the live well back there. And we're going to alleviate this center seat, and I've got some new boat seats coming from bassboatseats.com, and we're going to go ahead and give all this a facelift. And the bolt to remove these seats, you can get access through here after removing the storage compartments to get to the backrest bolts and things of that sort, as you can see over there. The most difficult one is going to be just getting in here back around this live well to get to these bolts to remove that center seat. No easy way to do it. I can tell you that if you use a 11mm socket and a small socket at that, this one's probably about 4 inches, you can get in there. You've got to get down in here and reach around this live well and these hoses, but you'll be able to get on there. And the good news is you just barely have to break it loose, and once that tension's off that bolt, you can go ahead and take those nuts off. I did that on both sides. There's our nut off of those, and now we should be able to remove the center seat. Open this up and this should come off. Just like so. This is what you want to use. I tried a crescent wrench. I tried a box end wrench. This is what I got in there. I'm right-handed, but the right side was more difficult than the left. We'll get this cleaned up. Now I've created what I'm calling a kick plate back here. This is just to basically conceal this area back here where those big bolt holes were at, and just keep this area from getting scuffed up. Now the material that I used to make this was actually from the existing seat. That back portions of these seats are made with a thick ABS here, and I was able to use that back and those existing holes line back up again on this, and I've secured this here. I've taken my cutting board and I've cut it out to the dimensions that I need for this bottom part here. This is 19 3/8 by 14, okay? And this should go right into this area. As you'll see, I kind of notched these corners out so we'll slide in here. To secure this, what we're going to do is we're going to again carpet that, but we're going to secure this in place by some well-placed screws. And you can screw into this. You just want to be careful where you're actually going, that it clears any of your hoses or things of that sort, and you don't want to use a screw that's too long. But we've got just the hardware that we need. We'll actually be using some of the hardware that came again from the original seat to do that. There's no reason why you can't close this off with screws. This is not an area that you need to gain quick access to for any particular reason. So when you do need to access anything down here, you can just take the screws out and you'll be able to get to this. Okay, I went ahead and drilled my pilot holes. You can see there and there. Now, it's important to point out that I did this piece on. So I did that through these pieces here. That way it's sure to line up. Now we're going to use these 1¼ inch stainless steel screws that actually came from the original seat base. This is the seat base. So we're going to just rob 3 of these screws to hold this in place. Let's move on to the next step. Okay, now we're going to wrap our piece in this C-Deck foam, EVA foam decking material. Just lay that on there, press down really good. Then we'll go ahead and cut this off. Just get it within about 1 inch or 1/2 inch from the edge of the material. I know it looks like I'm wasting a lot, but I have this whole roll. There was, you basically have to buy it by the roll. I've got a lot left here for any future stuff. So I'm really not concerned about that. Now we're gonna take our piece and I'm gonna go ahead and just put it down on the floor and I'm gonna step on it like so. So there's our piece, and what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take a trim router and go around our edges to get a nice clean cut. Now I'm going to take a little countersink and I'm going to go where these screw heads will be and just put a little countersink there for each one of these screws. If you were really talented, you could do a stencil here and router out any logos or anything that you wanted to do here. I'm going to keep this as simple as possible. So that's how that's turned out. You can see these screws, you know, they're offset in there. You're not gonna worry about stepping on them or kneeling on them. And that turned out pretty dang good. So that's it for today. Tomorrow our seats should be in and we'll go ahead and get those installed. See you tomorrow. All right, we got our seats in. It took a few more days than I was expecting, but better late than never. Okay, let's get into these things. Wow, that's really nice. It did include the hardware that we're going to need. Okay guys, you know that this channel is completely independent and unsponsored. And with that, I'm gonna be brutally honest with these products that I get, because just like you, I'm a consumer as well, okay? Now, when I first ordered these, and based on some of the videos and whatnot that I had seen on these seats, I was looking at a 48-hour turnaround for delivery of these seats. Now, we're actually at 4 days later, so that was twice the length of time that it took to deliver these seats. Now, that's probably not a reflection on the company per se as FedEx and their inability to meet timelines. However, another thing that I want to point out on these seats after unboxing them and inspecting them is a few things that I want to pass on to you guys if you decide that you want to get these. First off, to install the back, you have to take this off. Okay, it's Velcroed, and that's how you're going to get to these bolt holes back here. Well, I just went and took this off, and trying to do that literally ripped out the Velcro here. So I'm gonna have to fix that right off the bat with this Velcro that they used, which, you know, I can absolutely do. And on the other seat over here, knowing how easy that one came off, I was very ginger as to how I took that back off this other seat. Now, if you decide to get one of these seats, I highly recommend you're very easy with taking that back seat off. Something else I wanted to point out was, as you can see on the original seats, they've got these little pull straps to open these things up, and these seats do not have those. So what I'm going to do, or what I'm going to need to do, is I'm going to fabricate one of these pull straps so I can put those on, because again, the deal about these straps keeps people from digging in there and screwing up your seats. So I'm going to use this existing hardware off of here, and I'm going to create a strap for each one of these seats. You know, again, that 4-day turnaround, I'm glad too that I did not take these seats off thinking that I was going to get those the next day, because the next day I actually went fishing, so I still had my seats on and I was able to do that. If you want to order these seats and you're still using your boat, don't take your seats off until the seats actually come in, okay? So let's go ahead and move on to taking these old seats out. But wait, there's more. Let me show you this as well. So I'm sitting here playing with this hinge on here, and I'm noticing that this material, this aluminum that they're using, is nowhere near up to the standards of the original hardware that was on the original seats. And I'm also noticing that the more I fiddle with this, the more this center pin wants to come out. So what I'm gonna wind up doing as well, guys, it's already measured this, and these pretty much are identical. So I'm going to take the original seat hardware, these hinges, and put them on these seats. So again, that's another thing that you guys may want to consider if you get these bass boat seats. Now, when it comes to the Nitros, there's not a whole lot of options out there, unfortunately. I'm almost at the point that I should have maybe just added some more duct tape here. I don't know. We'll see how all this goes. Okay, that's much better, much better. So that doesn't appear like it wants to stick to this Velcro, because again, taking that out is just totally frizzle-frazzled this Velcro. So I'm gonna actually have to take this off and replace this portion as well. Okay guys, that looks like it's gonna work now. So that Velcro that I just put on there is probably 10 times better than what actually came on the seat. So that was a whole lot more than what I was anticipating. And how many people just happen to have Velcro laying around? I do. And so we were able to make that work. We fixed that. Okay, so here's that strap and original hardware that came off of that original seat. I had this marine battery strap, and what I'm gonna do is make new straps. I would have used this, however, that is just not going to match. This black is actually gonna match better. So what we're gonna do is we're going to get the length of this, and we're gonna cut it to the precise dimensions, and then I'll add that using this existing hardware to the new seat. So this will be our new straps, and I'll do that one for the other seat as well. Now I want to point out on the back side of this seat, you've got these same 11mm bolts. Now this one is holding up all your hoses. That other bolt right there is due behind this hose. So you've got to take this one out and then shift these hoses out of the way. Now, those seats are designed to screw into this fiberglass, so you won't use these same bolts, but you're gonna have to put this one back on to hold your hoses up out of the way. Now we can take this seat back off, but we're gonna have to find us another bolt to go back through this hole here, again, to put our clamp back on to hold our hoses back up to where they're supposed to be. Now I'm gonna take one of these bolts back out of this seat, like that. This is what's gonna go back in that fiberglass to hold that clamp with those hoses. So if you'll look, this is what came out of that seat. Okay, and there's our hole there that we need to hold that clamp. That is just a little bit too close for comfort for me. So I'm going to put a bigger washer on that, just like that. So we want to make sure that these hoses stay out of our way while we're drilling into this back portion here. If we put that seat on, we're not going to have access to this. So to keep this here, I'm going to go ahead and put a washer and a nut on this back side to hold this in place, like so. Just like that. We'll get this tight. This will allow us to hold these out of the way while we're screwing that seat in, as to not get into these hoses. And then when we're done, this will still be in place, and then we'll be able to reattach our hoses to this clamp and secure that like it's supposed to be. So obviously I'm having a big enough problem with this seat situation. So the last thing I want to have happen, or to any of you guys, is to drill into those freaking hoses there. So what I've decided to do is I'm gonna take this strap and I'm gonna loop it around those hoses. I'm gonna put enough tension to hold it away. It's a pretty tight fit, but if you really pull tension, you can get it good in enough way. And I'm doing this by myself, so I don't have anyone to hold this away for me while I'm doing this. Work smarter, not harder. See, just slight tension to pull that. Not too much, just enough to keep it off that back. We're gonna put this bottom part on first, and that'll help us determine where we need to position that backrest. Okay, now we're gonna put on this strap that we created, and I'm just gonna eyeball this center. Now I want to point out on these original seats something that's different than on those new seats. And this is how easy this is to open. Okay, and the reason why that is because this seat is actually designed with a taper here where it comes together, and likewise on the seat. We want to recreate that the best that we can with how we position the back. Now, the importance of that is pretty self-evident. If you can see, if we drop this back seat, the seat back all the way down to where it's resting on the base here, you can see how difficult that is to get that seat down in there, okay, because of the stuffing and because these seats weren't designed with that same taper. So we're actually gonna have to lift this up, all right, to get that to where we can secure the seat down, but not so much to where it's difficult to get it up and down. Another thing I wanted to point out is I went back and I put some electrical tape over that screw here that on the backside holds those hoses up. I started to notice just in this test fit that it was starting to scuff the back of the seat, and so you want to kind of protect that. How we're going to decide where this seat back should actually go is we're going to go ahead and set it on top of the seat in the closed position and just give it a little pressure there. When this is secure, this will pop open and back without that difficulty that you would have otherwise, all right? This is how I determine where the seat back should rest. So that looks pretty good. What we're also going to do, because we want to get it even on both sides, so we're going to get a measurement of what exactly this distance is so we can recreate that on the other seat. And that's about 2 inches from this portion here. Now, when drilling your holes, if you keep this rested on the seat as I've demonstrated, you can come back and tap these top screws and then open this up and then get to these bottom screws here that are kind of impaired by this portion of the seat here. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to be pre-drilling this with a 5/32 drill bit. Okay, when those are in place, you can open this up and get to these bottom ones. We'll replace this centerpiece, and this seat is ready to go. We'll recreate that on the other side. Very nice and easy. Looks good. Now we'll take a look from behind here where we held those out of the way. You can see those screws really didn't go through a lot. It's just about a 1/4 of an inch. So we'll reattach this like it was before, right back like we found it. Okay, so we've got the captain's seat installed, and once again I put that strap on there like I showed you guys. This turned out easier than that side. The back went on really easy. On the initial fitment of this bottom portion of the seat, it was a little tight up against this post here. So what I did was I offset it on these screws here that go into the seat by 1/2 inch. And now it fits like a glove, just like that. This is a view of these seats from the back, as you can see. Okay, well, we had some hiccups along the way, but I think this turned out fantastic. And I think if you do get some of these seats, if you install them correctly, I think that you'll have the results that you're looking for. Now, I could have edited out about 80% of that, shown you a before and an after, and told you that how to install the seats was just screw them in. But that wouldn't have been honest now, would it? The truth is, you're going to have to probably modify these seats. And I hope that this video has helped you. They are great seats. I'm glad I got them. I think they look good on the Baby Nitro, and I'm happy to have them. And I hope that this video has helped you guys. If it has, please hit that like and subscribe button. I appreciate you. And I don't know what you're going to do, but I'm fixing to go fishing. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
You ready?